All praise to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And this lesson is going to be entitled, Focus on Salvation and Stop Trying to Be Deep. Focus on salvation and stop trying to be deep. All right, and that's to all you different brothers out there. You got to focus on what the Lord is doing, which He's building up the elect to be saved. That's the main focus. Really, the only thing that we think about is prophecy. Okay, that's more things that we talk about. Now, in the process, we do edification videos, character building videos. We answer questions and different stuff, and it takes us in many different directions. But the main focus is prophecy, being saved out of this place. The destruction of Babylon the Great, and being saved out of here. So you got to watch out, because this thing known as what we call the deep demon can get on you and lead you away from what you should be focused on. And we've seen people fall victim to that. The deep demon will lead you to start reading the book of Enoch and all these different side books, because your mind becomes interested in all this other stuff that has nothing to do with anything really. So I'm going to read this comment from this brother. Now, there's a video. I forget the particular title of the video. I think it was the believers of the way don't have 100% truth about the 2/3, something like that I did. And this individual came on the comment board by the name of Thamara Israel 4429. He says, I believe the 2/3 will be regenerated in the kingdom, but my question is, after all the 2/3 are regenerated, who will Israel be giving birth to? Which completely has nothing to do with anything. You don't need to know. I mean, it's not important regarding salvation. And like I answered him, I'll show you my response. I said, I guess you're going to have to wait and see. Seeing is how we can't answer what hasn't been revealed. You might as well ask, will Yahweh Shai ever have a wife? LOL. And I was giving lighthearted humor, but at the end of the day, a lot of these questions that some of you ask, I'll just say this: you don't really need to know. Information is given on a need to know basis. Just because we have 100% truth doesn't mean that we can answer everything about everything and know things that haven't even been revealed. We can't tell you. I mean, you would have to imagine that Yahweh Shai will probably have wives, but we don't know that. And it's not important, and we're not going to make a video saying that. No, I remember one of the apostles said, recently, we're not going to make a video telling you what color sandals King David had back then. Just different shit like that. Did he use the slingshot with his left and his right hand, or did he use his left hand? Or, we don't know. We don't know. It's certain stuff that we can't tell you, man. How tall we really be in the kingdom? Will everybody be dark skinned? Will we be the same shade, or will some of us be light skinned? We don't know. We can't really tell you that. We don't know. And some things you don't need to know. So to my advice to this brother and others like him, focus on salvation. Stop trying to be deep. Not and I don't mean it in a insulting way. No, you got to focus. And then he wound up responding. I forget what he said, but we just kind of had a laugh about it or whatever. But let's read some here in the scriptures now. There's certain things that the Most High had happened that were not even written, and He didn't want us to even know it. Let me find it here. Okay, just bear with me here. This is our Revelation chapter 10. Yep, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. It says, and cried. I'm sorry, let's go to verse 2. It says, and he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea and his left foot upon the earth. This is an angel that came down and cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven. You see? So there's certain things that happen that were about to be written, but then the Most High told, it was given the order, don't write that down. See, there's certain things that we don't even need for this time. When we find out later on what the 7 thunders uttered, we'll see. Maybe not. Maybe we'll never find out. We probably will find out, but we don't know for sure. You know, all the other things that happened in Yahushua's life prior to him, you know, coming into the ministry, prior to him, you know, when he was a little kid. See, sometimes that stuff, people want to read them Gnostic Gospels and all that stuff. They're supposed to tell about his life early on or whatever. Well, the Most High didn't have that stuff written. So obviously he didn't want nobody to know. When we find that out, we'll find out in the kingdom. And when the seven thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the seven thunders uttered, and write them not. Okay? So the Lord says, seal those things up. Don't write that. He didn't want that written. There's certain things that the Lord did not want written, and we're not supposed to know. All right, let's get something else here. Let's also go to Romans chapter 12. And we'll start at verse 9. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another. Who is this talking about? It's talking about those that are believers. Right now, at the end of the day, if we are able to, we'll do this with all people, but it's not a commandment. You see, it's not a commandment. We ain't got to love, bend over backwards trying to love Esau. But the scriptures say, whenever possible, live at peace with all men. It says, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. And when I say believers, I'm talking about fellow Israelites. Not all Israelites, those Israelites that believe. Just like you believe, right? Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of saints, giving to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward another. Here's a point. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Don't be uppity. Don't be proud. Don't be thinking you know it all. Don't try to be Mr. Deep. The NLT says live in harmony with each other. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people. And don't think you know it all. Don't be a know-it-all. Don't be one of them Israelites. Here it is. Of all things you want to know about, you want to know after the 2/3 are regenerated in the kingdom, what other souls gonna be present. I mean, at the end of the day, man, that could be a long ass time before that happens. You act like you know how many souls that's ever lived. You gotta think about it. All people of all time, from all generations since the world existed. I mean, it's gonna it could take thousands and thousands of years before that would happen. Which really I didn't even want to think about it, because there's too many other questions that can arise. And when Jake started doing that, now you think, we got you. See, at some point, all the souls gonna be regenerated. Oh, I knew that wasn't, you don't know. There's so many things that we don't even, man, the Most High is too deep for us to know everything. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 19. It says, many are in high place and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. For the power of the Lord is great, and he is honored of the lowly. Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength, but what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence. Right? What's commanded of you? You got to learn of Yahushua, right? You got to have your grace and faith intact. You see? You got no time to chase fairy tales or to think up shit or think up scenarios and new shit to ask just because you think it'd be cool to know. Only things that's needful for salvation, it says, but what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence. For it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are shown unto thee than men understand. Right? You don't be concerned with unnecessary stuff, as we talked about. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment. Without eyes thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. And with we notice with Jake, because the Bible is repetitious, there's things that are repetitive. The prophecies and the things we talk about, we say them over and over and over and over, and a lot of you get bored with that. Well, you know what? If you get bored, go take a walk. Do something else. Play the game. Do something. You can't get bored with the truth, man. Sometimes it do get tedious, but it is what it is. You ride, let the Most High drive. You in the car riding, the Most High is driving. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is driving, and you riding. And if you're riding, don't try to control where the car goes. And that's all it is to it, man. The scriptures speaking plainly. I'm going to read one more, and then I'm going to shut it down now. I want to read 2 Ezra 14, but I think in the interest of time, I'm going to go to the Good News translation of that and just read it plainly, if I can here. Let's go to it. 2 Ezra 14. Shit. Y'all bear with me here. I don't see it. Okay, here we go. 2 Ezra chapter 14. Okay? And this is the Good News translation. Verse 1 says, on the third day, while I was sitting under an oak tree, suddenly a voice came out of a bush near me and called, Ezra, Ezra. I stood up and answered, here I am, Lord. The voice continued. Let me make sure this is it. Just hold on here. I don't know if I got the right chapter. I don't. Hold on. Damn it. More. Just bear with me here momentarily. Let me bring this up. All right. So it's 2 Ezra 4. 2 Ezra chapter 4 is what it should be. My mistake. All right. Now, if you look at the top, it says the human mind cannot understand the Most High's ways. First, 2 Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. From the Good News translation, it says, the angel Uriel, who had been sent to me, replied, you can't even understand what happens in this world. Do you think you can understand the ways of God Most High? Yes, sir, I do, I answered. So the angel said, you don't even understand, the ways of this world. What happens on this earth? How you think you can understand the ways of the Lord? But Ezra said, yeah, I do understand. The angel continued, I have been sent to ask you to solve 3 riddles about what happens in this world. If you can explain even one of them to me, I will answer your questions about the Most High's ways and teach you why the human race has an evil impulse. I agree, sir, I said. Then he said to me, good. How do you weigh out a pound of fire? Question number 1. Question number 2. How do you measure a bushel of wind? Question number 3. How do you bring a day back that has passed? I answered, why do you ask me such questions? No human being could answer them. Then he said, what if I had asked how many dwelling places there are at the bottom of the sea? How many rivers flow into the waters beneath the earth? How many rivers are there above the dome of the sky? Where are the exits from the world of the dead? Where are the entrances to paradise? If I had asked you these questions, you might have answered, I have never gone down into the waters beneath the earth. I have not yet entered the world of the dead. I have never gone up to heaven. But all I have asked you about is fire, wind, and the day that has just passed. Things that you have experienced, yet you have given me no answer. You can't even understand things you have been familiar with since you were a child. And that's the same thing we say to you out there. You can't even answer about things in this life. There's laws you don't even know. You see, there's so much you don't understand what you're worrying about after we're in the kingdom and all the spirits are regenerated. Then now what other spirits going to come from? How then can your little mind understand the ways of God Most High? Can someone already worn down by this corrupt world understand the ways of the incorruptible God? When I heard this, I fell face downward on the ground and said to him, it would have been better if we had never been born than to have to live in a world of sin and suffering without understanding why things happen as they do. The angel Uriel answered, I once went into the woods and heard the trees plotting together. They were saying, let's go to war against the sea and push it back so that we may have more room. But the waves of the sea also plotted together and said, let us conquer the woods and extend our territory. But all the plotting of the trees was useless because fire came and destroyed them. And the plotting of the sea was just as useless because the sand stood firm and blocked its advance. Now, if you were the judge and had to decide between them, which would you pronounce right? I replied, they were both wrong because trees belong on the land and waves belong in the sea. You have given the right answer, he said. So why can't you see the answer to your own problems. For just as trees have their place on land and waves have their place in the sea, so the people of this world can understand only what goes on in this world, and only heavenly beings can understand what goes on in heaven. And there's your answer right there. Some stuff you don't need to know, some stuff you can't even fathom or get it because you're an earth dweller. And we can't tell you about immortality, everything about it, because it wasn't given. All right, focus on salvation. Stop trying to be deep. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.